There you go. Go on.
Okay. So I'm creating a residency for Black women artists, and primarily, I think it will start around folks that are vocal,
Hmm.
meaning using their voice. And one of those persons that I looked up was Lisa Forkish. She's an a cappella singer, also a teacher, educator. The other one was Gina Breedlove. She's also a performing artist, but a sound healer. Um, and then the Black Woman is God, which is in a group of women that do seasonal exhibitions here in the Bay Area, but eventually it'll be international, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Um, and then Sister Song Reproductive Justice Coalition, where they create everything is about centering reproductive justice, but through basically allowing people to see different platforms, the different intersections of how RJ is centered, can be centered, or should be centered.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm not sure if you have questions for me.
Well, what is the thing that, what are some of the things that you find most striking? Like, do you have any of these aha moments that I'm mentioning? Like, oh, this is how you can explain this idea that I had.
hmm Um, I'm not finding it just yet,
Mm-hmm.
which tells me that like the idea is not 100% solid in my head. But I'm still kind of playing around with like, oh, it could be this or that,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what I am recognizing is that there is no song care practice out there that I can see that incorporates the things that I'm trying to incorporate.
The
There,
elements.
these different elements, they exist,
Uh-huh.
but most residencies are not geared towards vocalist in um, in the genres that I'm seeking,
Mm-hmm.
or specifically to Black women. So, but they do exist. They're just broken up. Like this one is over here. You got to go over here to do this, but you got to go over here to do that. Over here to do that.
Mm.
So, yeah,
And just to continue this, so what I understand is you're trying to bring these different elements into the same space, into the same place, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I like to be able to create a residency that allows a Black woman artist to be able to do whatever it is that they're choosing to do with their art, um, all in one space, meaning to practice it, create, develop it, and present it, basically.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So remember, I'm loving this because particularly remember how we talked about innovation. Innovation, the definition of innovation is to see two things that are separated and to find a link, to
Mhm.
create a link. And it is not that you're creating anything new per se, you're
Right.
just like connecting it in a way that works, right? So
Right.
that is in itself, it's innovative or innovative, I guess.
Right.
um yeah, no, I hear it, I hear it. And of course we are going to be working on this during our coaching, but I'm loving that you're finding different things. Listen, one of the things that came to mind when I was listening to you is what we are doing here. Actually, this program is a combination of different frameworks and different, things that just don't go together in general, right? The coaching and and the grant writing and the, like kind of like the cultural equity vision. They there is no other project like this. And you know it is innovative, and it is also the kind of thing that offers different results than other things that are happening, right? Yes, there is.
Valerie, I love what you're up to. Next level, there's like, sounds like you would be a great, it would give you a great opportunity for future funding once you get your ball rolling to become a grant maker. Like I know AAAC and definitely Soma Arts are grant makers. And you may want to chat them up about like, how can I get in the grant maker circuit so that like, Hewlett gives you $100,000 to then fund 25 artists. I think I also see a modest way is through continuing education grants
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and business development for like you've got your project. This is for your grant juice box. For your beyond this, you've got your projects, but then you also have like these other streams of like, okay, City of Oakland provides 100 grants to small business owners. Vocalists are business owners, small business owners, for business development. This residency is a business development.
Mm. Yes. All right. Monica?
Hey, I have a question since we're talking about language a lot, and the word innovative is so big in this grant. Because I noticed that you defined innovative just now as like saying it's not necessarily creating something new, but putting pieces of things together in a way that haven't been put together before that way.
Mhm.
So are innovative is innovative not always, or is innovative not inventive, but inventive is innovative? Like if we're like being inventive, we're being innovative. But if we're being innovative, are we not inventing something? And is it really just about taking proponents of something that's already been done and doing it differently?
Um, I remember there is this presentation talking about nature as the big inventor, right? Everything that us as humans do, it's in the inspiration of something that we see around us, right? So in many ways, we're co-creating all the time, right? Uh, but for this particular purpose, the easiest way to explain innovation is, um, yeah, is to basically just create links that were before were invisible, right? And now when you put them together, people is like, oh, now does it mean that you created the thing? Yes, you know, but it is not that you didn't create it out of thin air. We're always creating with things that are already existing out in nature, out in the world. Uh, and that's how we have been creating more and more complex things through history until now. We are creating artificial intelligence, right? Based also on some principles of nature, actually, right? String theory is something that is also observable in nature. So in that regard, there's we can sit here and have a long debate about creation, about innovation and creation and creativity and all of these things, but the ultimate truth is that, and particularly for these grants, but in general, I would say, um, you can be innovative, you can be creative, you can be all of these things, and it doesn't mean that you have to come up with a new color that nobody has seen before, right? Or a new musical note that nobody has heard from before, right? It is just that you're composing a song, you're creating a new song from parts that have been around from hundreds, even thousands of years. You're creating music with notes that already existed. So is that a creation, a pure creation? I mean, maybe, But the truth is that you're creating the links, you're putting it together so that it's a new thing, you know? Okay, Iwalani, would you like to share?
Okay. Hi,
Yes.
everybody. So my research had to do with people using media as their platform, multimedia. And I wanted to focus on family-friendly artists who are supporting Black artists or Black artists themselves. So basically, I found, or have been following most recently, a group called Family Forward, Family Music Forward. And they are I'm just taking this quote from their Instagram: transforming family music by supporting Black artists, children, and communities, dismantling individual, institutional, and systemic racial bias in the family music industry. Because it's a known fact that, it's still a predominantly white space, family friendly music. There are Black and Brown music educators and entertainers, but the majority of them are still predominantly white and is still white held space. But the percentage of Black kids, Black and Brown children consuming that content, exceeds that. So there needs to be representation in that industry for those children to get that exposure. So I follow Family Music Forward. And the reason I like that is because it's a POC forward organization, inclusive and family friendly content. And they also have a radio station connected to that. So all of the people that they showcase are Black artists, but it's all children's music. So from there, I found an artist named Nanny Kiki Music, who I am really inspired by because they have an amazing YouTube channel and also have Spotify and the whole thing going on. Found another artist named Fiyuch, who is a Black father and really shines a light on his fatherhood and his relationship with his daughter. And let's see, I also follow this artist named Pierce Freelon, who is a Black family music educator, but his focus is on STEM and STEAM content in music for kids. And then one other artist who I follow who's white, his name is Blippy. And the reason he's on my list is because of the way he brands himself. And it's very consistent across all of his content. He has a look, a style, and it's, you see that and that's who it is. And so going along the lines of like Sesame Street, again, like Reading Rainbow, Electric Company, all of those educational edutainment platforms that really showcase Black and Brown and queer and POC artists is who I'm kind of channeling and helping develop my avenue of doing this. So,
Oh my God. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes. Yeah. No, everything you just said. Um, I want to I want to ask a question to the group based on the information that Iwalani just shared with us. Do you think that there would be some numbers, stats, particular, because you were talking about percentages, right? Uh, do you guys, based on what you just heard from Iwalani, would you ask her any specific question about, like, oh, it would be interesting to know the percentage of, Black musicians doing family-oriented music compared to white musicians, for example, right? Or I don't know. I want to poke your curiosity. Like, what would be something that, based on this, do we want to know? Family stats, like depending on ethnicity, for example. Um, do we want to know accessibility to um, arts education, depending on, again, um, your you know, your community, maybe.
I have a question. Are these when we're doing grants,
Uh-huh.
should we be putting that information into the grant as far as data and
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. Remember that we are trying to convey a sense of urgency, right? What is more urgent that if we say, you know, like in a research, in a recent research on Spotify, only 1 out of 100 performers, family-oriented performers, is a person of color. Oh, it really means that we need to invest in this project because there is nothing like this project happening at the moment, right? Um, research show that children from, pre-K children, uh, a majority, I don't know, like I'm just coming up with this from the top of my head, but like, uh, like 60% of children of color don't have access to music education, art education, etc. Right? Valerie, you have a question?
Yeah, I did have a question about where the music is being marketed and who's marketing the music. And I guess what I mean by that is like um because I mean, I have music on Spotify, but when I check it out monthly, I don't actually check it out monthly. It just appears in my email, right? And it's like, oh, you had 3 listeners this month. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But is there a publicist that's involved in supporting those white artists? Is there a manager? Is there like I've sung at children's festivals in Canada. It's a huge market, like you're saying. So, but is there one who's doing that? Is there a group of people like you found with this organization, right? Are there publicists or managers or booking folks that are looking for that work specifically in terms of accessibility and equity? Like, if it's not being marketed, you definitely need grant money to be able to support that effort. You cannot put a project out and um, not have it advertised and then have proper placement. So
Right.
if families are only seeing the white music being offered, then that's what they purchase because it's put in their face like all the time. So like
Right.
scholastics or something like that. Like who's behind it? What
Accessibility.
organizations are supporting those folks,
Mm.
and what
That's a great
they
question
support you?
because the reason I was connected to Family Music Forward, Valerie, is actually through Monica. She actually sent me the link. So um, when I connected to them, I was like, oh my God, here's this little group of people who are cultivating what's missing. There's a big void in the industry. And so, because of that, maybe because of the lack of resources, because of the lack of marketing and, that side, the business admin side of it, the
Mhm.
aspect of it, they had to create and cut out their own kind of sector. And so they created their own radio station.
Yeah.
They
Right.
created their own collective of artists who they are now putting their own platform forward because maybe there is no representation in the
Mhm.
music admin department. So that's what we're creating currently, actively. Uh,
Mhm. So
but
maybe
yeah,
they're
that's a
not
great question. I
interested.
know there probably are people out there, but it's so few and far between. It's like what organization do we go to? Who
Right.
do any of y'all know? Is there, so that's there we go. There it is. We don't even know amongst ourselves. So
Mhm.
um, that's a big indicator that there's a huge need.
Yeah.
That is exactly what the sense that you know that is the reason that we are asking you to do this research, right? Because we are focused, we're centering here uh, underserved communities. And a big part of it is like, yeah, bro, like you have been funding other, like other things and probably people with the means to do this work for a really long time. So how can we build up um our narratives, right? We're going to stop this part right here, mainly because like I think that we we got to the point, right? Take your time, take half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, get it going, and you will. It's like when you have a little loose thread, and you start pulling and you start pulling and you start pulling, and then when you got a hefty amount of data, a hefty amount of uh, it can be numbers, it can be stats, it can be stories, it can be many forms of convey like ways of conveying the same point, right? That is when we start crafting the narrative. That is when we start like really like, okay, I'm gonna throw this here. I would generally say start your narrative with a strong number, like a thing that makes them say like, oh, I didn't know that there was this issue. And then you're like, oh, like a red flag, like this amount of people is, I don't know, suffering this particular thing. But that is why we are proposing this solution. That is why my practice is centered around doing this. Ta, 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 ta. So I am the solution. I'm proposing you the solution with my project. It's not that difficult, but we definitely need to take the time to do the research. Thank you so much. Thank you, Valerie, Judith, Iwolani. Thank you for sharing, and thank you everybody for being present for this, because it is an important part of uh, you don't know what you don't know until you do the research. Again, and just to go around the questions, because I don't want to leave these questions unanswered. Um, Last year, I want to be very clear. Last year they had around 100 applications, okay, for this, but it was like an unprecedented year of like submissions because we were all in isolation during COVID. Um, that is a for answer for the first question, and then the other two and three, question number 2 and 3, which were what kind of projects are funded by these grants. You can actually find this information in the CCI website. They list past funded projects, so you can go and take a look at what they're funding and how. It's not necessarily what they're funding, because everything that they're funding changes depending on the project, but you can definitely look at the scope of the projects that they're funding, right? What are the goals that they're accomplishing? How are they framing those goals? How are they framing their projects? And with that, it's 11:11, so make a wish. We are going to go to, hey, yes! You just became a music publisher this year. Active transformation in progress. Congratulations, Iwalani. We celebrate you as we celebrate our growth, because we're on this together. And that is why we're going to take a moment to welcome our presenting artist of the day. And I say artist, not artist. Last minute changes, but all is well. We're going to present, well, Marash is going to share with us a little bit of her work, right, Marash?
I am. I got a lot of background noises going on, so perfect timing for me. Let's see. So my name is Marojene, but I go by Mirage. It's a little short and simple. Well, my art practices is music, and what I'm looking to integrate is healing through music, and also bringing together different cultures and communities through music and healing. So that's a little bit about the project that I'm working on. Um, I am, outside of music, a career counselor and a future author. I am working on a few different projects, and I'm also looking to rebrand my music right now. Well, I don't have a set genre. I'm looking to use all different genres to heal on all different platforms. I'm looking to integrate sound bowl healing and creating my own beats because I know the power of music and how healing it actually is. So I'm living proof of that. So my project, well, my actual work, I have enough, just getting back into the music. So I jumped back into music in 2018, just started rewriting and recording and rebranding. And we'll be going through another rebrand, just transitioning from what I was doing, but focusing more on activism, educating other artists within the community, and just using cultures to kind of build up our community more and unite. So I'll just talk a little bit about the project that I'm working on. So what it started out as was a tour. It was going to be like a virtual tour. But just meeting with my one-on-one sessions, I was able to transform it a little bit more. Therese is amazing because she helps my monkey mind. Like I have a million things going on in my head at one time. Like my mind is running 1,000,000 miles per hour, and she helps like ground me and pull it out. So what I'm usually for others, she is that for me. So I greatly appreciate her. So she was able to help me turn my personal vision into something, you know, project-based. Like, so what I'm looking to do is create a series. Now, it was going to be a tour, but I'm going to take it and turn it into a series. So I'm going to use my cultural and ancestral lineage, and just the power of what they represent. So there's a lot of people that don't know the power that their culture holds. You know, there's a lot of people that are oblivious to what their culture is and, you know, what they come from and why they are the way they are. I'll tell you a funny story. I remember being about 8 or 9 years old and my uncle telling me we had family in Haiti. And I was like, Hades, I was studying Greek mythology at the time. So I'm thinking he meant Hades. And I'm like, I don't got no family from the underworld. Like, I don't want to be from there. Like, so I like totally pushed off my Haitian lineage all my life because I thought he meant the underworld, until I got older and my dad spoke to me about it. And I was like, oh, that's what he meant. So growing up, my mom and my grandmother, they always taught me about our Native American lineage. And a lot of people, if you're from America, well, I'm from America, and my culture comes from Louisiana. My family is from down south, so a lot of Black Americans, if you don't have like the African culture or the Caribbean lineage or, you know, some other racial, like our culture is Louisiana. I think that's Black American culture, if there ever was one. So just studying about where we come from and just our roots. And I learned more about my Native American culture through anything. And I know one thing they are is resilient. And same with my Haitian lineage. They are overcomers. Like, it does not matter the obstacle, they are going to overcome it and they're going to fight tooth and nail until they do. And one thing they always used was music. You know, they always healed and brought communities together, you know, and just done things with music and dance. So that's something I'm looking to create. So I'm going to create a platform where it was really for myself, but I'm going to bring in other artists that want to participate and kind of tell their story. So it's going to be a 2-part project. It's going to be a show, like, so people can come and perform live. It'll be virtual and kind of just telling their story through music. And then they will also get the chance to talk about their cultural background, their lineage, and how has music helped them overcome? How has their culture. So how has who they are and what their bloodline is, how has they helped them remain resilient and overcome? So I think for me, just kind of finding out who I am and what I come from has helped me find myself a lot and just helped me understand, oh, so this is why, you know, we don't stay down when we fall down, you know, we get up and, you know, we keep working and going towards our goals. So I think kind of highlighting that for artists and just using it as a story and for others. So that's my project. That's what I'm kind of working on. Thank you, guys.
All right. Would you like to share a little bit of your music or a little bit of what, you know, your past work or something?
Yeah, I will. So I also make manifesting music. I'm an alchemist. I study I'm I'm into metaphysics and spirituality. I'm into all of that. And that just comes from my culture and my lineages as well. Just using what we have and transmuting. So we take our pain and transmute it into something greater, you know. And I take a lot of my pain and I use music to help people manifest a financial abundance, and just all love, all types of things. So I'll share my latest, because I don't have new money just yet, but I'm speaking it into existence and I'm helping other people just kind of put that in the energy and in their atmosphere and just call in that energy. So
Yes.
here, this is my biggest, well, it's my first video. I got out of my comfort zone. I had to. I had a a stylist and a director come and direct. So this is my website. I am on United Masters. They help get my music out on all platforms and just help me keep up with my marketing and a little bit of all of that. And it's free. Well, I think it's like, I purchased a select where I own all of my royalties because I don't want anyone owning any of my stuff. So, so I'm gonna go, excuse me. So this is the video. So forgive me guys, yeah.
It's great.
Can you guys hear it?
Yes.
Got new paper, like see you later. I'ma cop me some new paper. Let it rain down on me. Let it rain down on me. All these blessings really for me. Turned all my L's into lessons. Now it's raining, big blessings. No stressing, but you for me. Why you acting like you for me? Like I don't know who really for me. Got that third eye really on me. In my crown, yeah, sit on top of me. Got me grounded, I'm surrounded. Divine providence. It got me dripping, benevolence. All that old shit relevant. Got new paper, like see you later. I'ma copy some new paper. Let it rain down on me. Let it rain down on me. All these blessings really for me. Really for me. All these blessings really for me. Shekinah. Yeah, only L I take is one to the face. And with the help of God, I'm assuming from my placement. Use a waste man trying to go against me. Got some shooters all around me, don't need no 40 to my G's. Leo Moon, Gemini, Sun, I get it poppin'. I'ma make it to the top, and ain't no way that you can stop me. Go ahead, pass me the crown, I'm the hottest in your city. And ask around the town, ain't nobody fucking with me. I'm going crazy, ain't no water, you hate pain. Too deep in my... Yeah, that's not, part of the the goal, but yeah, so that is my first video. I was completely out of my element, but it was fun to create. It kind of, yeah, I don't know where she got the inspiration, but I had fun shooting the video. It definitely got me out of my comfort zone because I am, yeah, a little more reserved than that.
Let's come off mute and give some love to Marojene. Yes. Woo! Grounded and surrounded. Yeah. Iwalani, can you drop your affirmation that you had?
I said, hey, let's get this new grant money.
We're gonna manifest that new grant money. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. This is so good. When I honestly I watched that video before we interviewed you, and I was like, oh my God, there's some production value here. What's up? Yeah, no, and you know, a very good advice that I got from this person who was producing one of the San Francisco festivals. It was probably it was one, I don't remember specifically which festival, but they told me when artists send us their stuff, they try to send us a lot of things. They're trying to send us like 20 videos and 20 pictures and like all of this to prove that they can do a lot of things. But honestly, when we look at this and like they have like one or two like really high quality things, and then they send us another 5 things that are like a little less quality. So they don't know it, but actually when we are looking at this, we that takes points of their their application, because often it's like, yeah, you really just want to lead with whatever is like super high quality, and this is really high quality. Like honestly, the stylist did a great job, the director did a great job. You are, you know 10 over 10. Amazing work. Thank you and congratulations, Rash. We're so honored and happy to be in your team community support system, and we're gonna, yes, this is great. Thank you.
Mirage, will you drop the video link into the chat? All right.
All
All
right.
right, all right, all right, all right. I believe we have a break coming up.
Yes. Let's actually just go on our break. Let's take 5-6 minutes. We will meet you here at 11:30, and we are going to get going with your narratives. Okay, Dacia, Judith, Valerie, Dacia, and Judith, just let us know when you come back. So it was really interesting. The whole curriculum is geared toward supporting folks to my diploma, uh, supporting folks to get a lot of clarity on how to develop programming, how to administer their projects, their programs. And many things came up, like many things that I was happy to see that, oh, like I'm doing this right. And also other things that were just like, wow, like eye-opening moments, right? Particularly in this case, that this is something that I'd like to share with you, because this is something that we're doing all together, and this is when we step in roles of leadership, right? Particularly what you're doing right now, you're applying for a grant, you're applying for funding for your project. It doesn't mean that you're working by yourself. It means that you are actually creating something, whether it is with a team of people that you're already collaborating with, or with the vision of collaborating with people, right? And this idea that leadership is is not like a just one of these hot words of like leadership, right? But actually leadership is behavioral. What does this mean? It means that you are you're leading, you're taking up space with your values, right? So the way that you connect with others, the way that you collaborate with others, the way that you invite people to be part of your team, or being part of your vision, is speaks to a degree about the project that you're doing, the vision that you want to fulfill for the future, right? Um, I don't know. There was a lot of things. Particularly, another thing that I really enjoyed is they have a reframe of this thing that we call the different forms of energy, right? And they say that we need to take a look at our community wealth. And our community wealth is comprised of the familiar capital, the social capital, the aspirational capital, the cultural capital, the linguistic capital, and the navigational capital. What does this mean? Oh, you're going to have people around you that will help you navigate processes like this one, right? This is actually you guys gaining a lot of navigational capital, because now the next time that somebody comes to, like, oh, I'm trying to apply for a grant, I just don't know how to do it. Oh, well, let's see. Here's a couple of things. Here is the hand exercise. Here is you know, how you pull a grant. This is how you extract the juice box. This is all uh, things that you are getting for um, not only yourself, but the community of people that you are surrounded with, right? The people that you're collaborating with, the people that you're uplifting. So in that regard, we are all doing this together. We're bringing each other up with all of this, right? Um, and the other quick thing that I wanted to share with you is about this experience that I had coming back into San Francisco on Tuesday. I got stuck at the airport of Guadalajara, mainly because there was a person. In order for you to come into the United States, they ask you for a COVID test, and I showed my COVID test, but the person at the gates, the security officer or the security person, didn't think that my test was convincing enough. But it was coming from an official institution and all of these things. Anyway, the point is that I was asking them to let me get on the plane, right? And this person at some point, I don't know why, got triggered as if I was like mistreating them. Um, and it turned into this kind of like confrontation. And he was like, "Oh, you know what? Now it doesn't matter that you show me your documents or whatever it is. You're not gonna travel." And I was like, "Please let me go home, right?" Uh, I had been this training the whole day that day, and I had a migraine, and I was feeling many kinds of ways. And I realized in that moment that this person just wanted to flex their power, right? They wanted to put me on the spot in front of their employees to show something. And it was a hectic moment. There was a lot going on, and I was really lost on what could I do. Oh, by the way, hold on. Let me stop the music, or else the recording is not going to be easy to publish. Anyway, the reason that I'm telling you all of this is because uh, there was a moment in which I was, teary-eyed and really angry. And when I felt like I was going to, yell or do something more, I I caught myself. I caught myself like feeding my monkey mind, being in this position of I am right. I need to get out of danger. I need to stay out of danger. And it really kind of like opened a moment of clarity for me, right? There was a moment of stop, don't react, pull back, pull back, right? Observe. There is something for you to observe here. Maybe you don't know what it is right now, but you need to take a moment, see, look, tell the truth, and take authentic action. Um, you know, it really came to me because, of course, like it is very easy to uphold this framework that we're teaching you right now, of like observe your monkey mind. What are your symptoms? What are your standards of integrity? In a moment of chaos, in a moment of crisis, you're not thinking about your standards of integrity, right? But what I realized in that moment is that I have become familiar enough with this framework that I was able to catch it in that moment and to stop escalating the situation. So what I did is, I had to retreat. uh, I went. It took me some time, but I finally got to say all is well. Went to, had to find a hotel, a place to stay through the night, and all of these things. The key component of this is that the next day, because this is the security person, he was going to have to review my COVID test the next day, regardless, right? So I was going to have to face him again. Um, so, I just did some of the changes that they asked me to do to my test, et cetera, et cetera. And I showed up. And of course, when I arrived to the airport, I had a lot of like monkey mind, and I was sweating, and I was like really going through some like mental stuff, right? And I just stayed. I set the arena. I stayed in my qualities. I was breathing. I was taking it back. The thing that we say in this framework is when you see it, you don't have to be it, right? And I saw myself trying to escalate this thing. I saw my monkey mind trying to become more and more rowdy. And I was able to become present, to give him my papers. And the person, of course, looked at me, did this third, fourth take, trying to get me to engage, trying to get me to say something. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be gracious AF. Just going to stand here. I didn't do anything wrong. Let them be. Let them have, because there is comments. This said person hold on complete. They have their own thing going. It has nothing to do with me, right? They are dealing with their own anxiety and their own issues of power and personality and machismo and all of these things. So I'm just going to let him deal with that, and I'm going to deal with my own part. And you know that's exactly what happened. He couldn't make me engage with him again. Gave me my documents, and now I'm finally in San Francisco, speaking to you from the comfort of my room. So it really bring about a sense of empowerment, right? From like being completely at the mercy of this person, and becoming angry and sad, of course, to I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to stand my power. So it's something that I wanted to share with you, because I think that as we move forward and we continue to do this work in the world that we're living, um, these kind of situations are going to happen, and we need to be reminded often that it's important that we take a moment, we step back, we look, see, and tell the truth, and then we take authentic action, right? Whew. All right. So we're going to start working on the writing component of our session today. Uh, and we're going to be looking at two particular things this time around. Uh, we're going to be talking about your resume, and we're going to be talking about your work samples. Can anyone share with us, did anyone work on reframing your resume this week? Judith and Iwalani. So tell me a little bit of how is it to make what was your experience? Let's start at that. What was your experience reworking your resume?
My experience was I wasn't sure if I was editing in a way that would support my funding needs. So I think because I need to tap in with Therese and probably just get some suggestions. That's kind of where I'm at. But I did make some adjustments to add elements of like part of my research that I had done and how that connected into the work I was doing. And then just also needed to make some adjustments about things that had been outdated that I needed to remove to kind of, it was just too long. My resume was too long. So I needed to just tighten it up and make it more impactful. So, but yeah, I think I need some more suggestions of how to make it stronger towards my funding goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to be very clear, we ask you guys to take this framework of the SMART goals, right? Um, make it specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. SMART. And just bring that to your resume, to the things that you have been presenting in your resume. This week your homework is going to be to fully dive into your resume and rework your resume, okay? But Judith, why don't you share with us a little bit of what you saw with your resume this week?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I really appreciated Teresa's feedback and suggestions. And it was also surprising for me how she would suggest me to elaborate on points and the different projects and exhibitions to actually give more content, what they are or what kind of art was I doing exactly. So for me, I had this mindset of this is an obvious thing, especially if you are in the Bay Area, you might know some of the things. And I really appreciated that Therese pointed out that so not obvious. So I probably will have to make it more clear and a bit more elaborate without being too long. So I guess that's the challenge.
Okay. Okay. So I want you to do me a favor right now. I want you to all go and open your latest resume. Take 1 minute. Open your latest resume. We're gonna take a look at what we had currently. Okay. Take a minute. Okay. Would anyone like to volunteer? We're going to do the first thing, which is we're going to add some SMART goals into your job descriptions or your job presentations. Would you like to? Yeah, who would like to get a moment to share their resume and take a look at the different parts and portions?
I have a pretty detailed one.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Dossier. Let's do dossier.
You just want me to share screen?
Yeah.
1 second.
Arturo, you have a stack. You have Dacier, Monica, and Mirage.
Okay.
You have 3 folks.
We can make it happen.
Here she is. 1 second. Okay. Can I make it smaller again? Can you guys see it?
Great. Okay. Beautiful. Now let's remember our framework of SMART. What is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, so let's just take, this is gonna be very quick. We're just gonna make an example. This is gonna be, do we include jobs in our artistic resume? Okay, I'm going to start by referring to the hand exercise. Do you remember the hand exercise? Okay. The idea that we are going to feed everything that we are going to put forward in our grant is going to be connected to the project, to the main narrative, right? So this is where we start strategizing on our resume, right? Are the things that we're including in our resume relevant to the project that we are presenting, right? Maybe the project that we're trying to create is an album, right? and maybe we have experiences in recording with other artists, in performing in different venues in different places, and maybe we have a gig doing some I don't know, some production of some kind, or logistics of some kind. So you take the things that you have, and you're like, okay, what of these things, which what in this list of things is relevant to recording an album, right? So then that's when you go, okay, let's not put the logistic gig, because might not be the most relevant, right? Let's just take the other ones that are more connected to making music, presenting music, recording music, for example, right? In this case, that's it. Just to contextualize the group, your project is about creating oh my god, I blank on the name.
Legends. It's a really long name, but we refer to it as Living Legends.
Living Legends. Living Legends. It is a space of celebration, intergenerational celebration for the community, right?
Yeah.
So in here, we're gonna take a look at the different things that you're presenting. Associate Artistic Director, great. Now, let's try to make this into a smart smart goal oriented section. Let's say facilitate weekly Skywatchers meeting. How many?
3.
Huh?
3.
3?
Yes.
Okay. With how many people?
It ranges from 12 to 25.
Beautiful. Coordinate trainings, artist facilitators, handbook, produce and direct performances. How many performances on the span of how long?
3 to 5 a year for the last 3 years.
So you can either say, these many performances for these many years, or you can say 15 performances, right? Produce and direct 15 performances with how many people, for example, right?
Well, I later on in the resume, I have like the main, like the largest productions that we did. I just highlight those on this part later on the resume under curation and productions.
That is great, but remember that you want to give them, because you can imagine the amount of resumes that they have to go through, right? So they don't take the time to go and look at all of the resume. So the thing that you want to do is to put front and center, here are my numbers, right? Here are the things. And again, we had already asked this question last week. Why do you think it's important for you to show that you're measuring your progress? What do you think that is valuable for the funders?
Just mainly just that they know that I'm aware of how much work that I'm doing and have goals to do more, maybe.
It shows them that you are goal oriented, right? It shows them that the work that you do is not just like, oh, I'm just gonna make this work and see what happens with it, but rather I have a clear goal and I'm achieving this goal, right? Okay. What else can we I'm trying to poke holes into, like, oh, maybe in here we can put like some numbers or some data or some structure, right? Let's see here. Same, right? Amount of workshops, or workshops for how many people?
Okay.
Right? Didn't collaborated with other team members. meet and collaborate with, how many team members did you have?
7.
Beautiful. How about coordinate with 7 team members
Okay.
to collaborate or to implement? Yeah. So, for example, when you tell me like a diverse range of projects, this is also like about what, right? The biggest challenge that we have when we are putting a resume together is to contextualize what is that they are seeing, right? Like, are they, because of course for us it's very clear because we live this experience, we know what Skywatchers is, but it's a person that, you know, is not familiar with the organization going to understand what this work is about, right? So that is when um, creating measurements and bringing up numbers or specific descriptions even, right? Like to implement the diverse range of projects spanning from, you know, workshops to theater classes, for example. Like this is me just like,
Yeah.
what are some of the projects that you were working on?
Documentary films, open mics, individuals' performances, producing a written anthology.
Mm.
The main ones that come to mind right away.
Yeah, you can say diverse range of projects in these platforms, right? In poetry, multimedia, da 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 da, because then that shows that you have specific experience in all of those media platforms, right? Or these mediums. All right. I think we're gonna. Is it clear, Dacia, what we're trying to do?
It's very
Yeah.
clear. Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at another one.
Arturo, while that person's bringing up their
Mhm.
resume, we have a question in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Huh.
so, creating an artist resume, not a job resume, that includes the SMART goals relevant to our grants. Is there an example of this? Because I've never heard of this, and I'm trying to let go of that understanding, but I can't see it. Like, what's the format look like?
Can you read it again? Because
Yeah. Is there a different format for the artist format versus the job resume? Is it that includes the SMART goals that are relevant to our grant? And is there an example of this?
okay, I can share my resume with you. Um, the truth about the resumes is that there will be a few sections in your resume, namely your education, your your hold on, let me go for my for my resume real quick. I have a full folder just with resumes that I tweak every time that I apply for something new, right? Um, the goodness of this is that once you have the main thing, you're just tweaking. Look, this is okay. Let me share my screen real quick. So you would have your tagline, which is often kind of like your what you're putting forward. The first thing that you want them to notice: arts curator, producer, and cultural organizer, focused on arts development, equity, and politics, right? So what I do is experience. These are the projects. I do a mixture of like including projects with job positions that I've had in the past, mainly because a lot of the things that I've done have been kind of like self-produced or self-directed. So you know, I mean, these are projects and jobs, can be, considered both. If you have had the opportunity to have steady positions and then also projects, like side projects that you are developing, you can do it in different sections, right? Now, what goes first? It really depends on what what you're applying for. If your projects, if your project experience is stronger in relation to your grant, you put that in the forefront, right? Um, Similarly to the question, are we using it? Are we doing chronologically or by relevance? Um, I would always go with relevance, but it is true that the newest, the most recent experience can be also relevant to the things that you're trying to do. You know, so what I do here is I go with experience. I do awards and conferences right here, right? It doesn't have to be on the side. It can be below. It can be above. Um, I do, my languages, because I have two languages. My education and my skills. And on this side, I have, again, I just call it experience, but it can be, like job experience and uh, or production, right? And finally, continuous education. This is the way that I continue to um, instruct myself to stay up to date with, the trends and stuff like that. Uh, what does time bound means? Yeah,
I just answered it, Arturo,
thank you,
in the
thank
chat.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you,
But a
thank you.
time bound is a goal. Just in case you're not following the chat, it's essentially a goal that's based in time. So, like, Mission Art Performance Project, Arturo is involved with that. He's event curator and producer in a specific time frame, which is April 2016 to
16 to
present.
present.
That would make it time bound.
And you can also look at these things, like I consolidated the budget, tickets, sales projection, and programming for fiscal years 2016, 2017, and 17-18, right? So that's 2 years of doing this thing. Develop and manage cultural programming in collaboration with different stakeholders with an average of 10 events per month. So it is understood that from May 16 to April 18, I was doing 10 events a month, which was crazy. Yes. That's all I'm going to say about it. You can see this in here. Develop a fundraising campaign, raise $20,000, promoted 26 events in Mexico and California, and we had 75 artists to participate with 3,000 people in attendance, right? We partner with 13 organizations and 15 sponsors internationally. So I can say, I partner with organizations and sponsors internationally. When you say, oh, it was 13 organizations and 15 sponsors, that's 28 different relationships that I was managing, yeah, at the same time. It's a little crazy, yeah. So this is an example of something, and I'm happy to share I shared it with you for your quick grant, but I'm happy to reshare it so that you can take a look at it and tweak yours.
Yeah, so maybe you could put it in the post game notes. Would that work, Khaled?
That would work. I didn't know it was already. I didn't know it was already shared. So
Oh, no
We,
problem. I'm happy
we,
to
we could put it in this week's post notes again. We could put it in
the post
post
game
game
notes.
notes.
that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yes. So these are the sections that I recommend you to have. Your tagline, number one, your experience, and again, I compile projects and job positions, but you can do it separately if you have had that experience in your life. Um, you can do continuous education. Um, some organizations really focus on skills, right? And when I say skills, I see that Judith made a comment. I'll get to it in a second. Um, when you say skills, you're going to see that sometimes when you're applying for a job, the job description will be, we're looking for a, detailed, writer, or a visionary, or a self-started, proactive, self-starter leader, right? Here's where you come and you just copy their jargon and you say, oh, those things that you're looking for, that's exactly what I am, right? I mean, don't lie, but definitely look into your skill set and bring it up, because then again, particularly the human resources people that they're a little square. I don't want to generalize, but my sister is works in human resources, and she gives me the down low of like how they're measuring these things. And yeah, a lot of times they're looking for the exact wording of their job opening, for example, right? In this case, the guidelines of your grant application are going to have some very specific wording that you can just bring in like this. It's right there in front of them. It's not going to be hard for them to be like, oh, is this person good for project management? Oh, does this person, we're looking for someone that has experience in development with an equity framework. Boom, right there, right? And the last important one that I would include is awards and conferences. If you wanna, you should definitely include this workshop in your continuous education, for example, right? But if you were invited to participate in any conference, in any event as a speaker, definitely put it in here, because this means that you are, again, you keep showing up and you keep growing your knowledge and your practice. Now to Judith's comments. Oh, you already answered, Therese?
Yeah.
Okay.
But go ahead and go ahead and take a look at it. See if you.
So in the final resume, where I have many shows that I just want to list, but have a few that has a heavy number. Why don't you explain a little bit of this, Judith?
So as an artist, I won't list all the exhibitions I participated, only a selected list, but it's probably good to have at least like 10 or 15 of the best. And most of it doesn't need to, or might don't have this many visitors came, or that, like, like this kind of measured things that you have in your experiences. But a few of these exhibitions do have that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious if it's okay to have a list and then just like have one that I have include these like smart points, and then list a few more, then elaborate a few more, or is it just better if it has a coherent length of the descriptions?
Yeah. So I am, honestly, the thing that I always try to say is you can create your own format for your resume. So that's a very interesting question. What I would say, let's imagine that these are not fellowships and they are actually exhibitions that I participated in, right? And these particular two are very important, and they got, like a few thousand visitors and stuff. What I would do is I would highlight those two particularly, and I would say 3,000 visitors, maybe say sold 3 pieces, or appeared, review review appeared in the uh, San Francisco Chronicle, right? So I would just create a little mini format like this, uh, you know, and then this one is also similar because it has similar kind of like uh, things achieved. If you want to put it like that and then the rest just without any context, that is also completely fine, right? Yeah, the context, you can add the context where it's necessary, where it's relevant, right? But the other thing that I would really like to highlight here, and this is important here, you wanna center the work that is relevant to the to the to the project, but what I would highly recommend is don't give in to your ego or your monkey mind. One of the experiences that we have seen in our past cohorts is that sometimes people are trying to cram everything, because everything is important. So everything has to be there, right? And when that happens, is it becomes so much information that it becomes ineffective. Again, to the point, it is easier if you do 3 things instead of 10, and you explain in detail about those things, right? For example. So remember to always center your narrative. Whatever it is that you're pursuing, and this is why it is becoming more and more important now to get you going with your research and with writing your narrative. Um, it is important that you are always centered on that uh, on that route, right? So that you connect your resume, your work samples, your artist bio, everything that you're presenting to the narrative. Okay. Do we have time for another question? One more question.
I do believe Mirage and Monica were in the queue, so I'll give up some of my time to make sure that they get a chance. Or guess, do you guys still have questions?
Would you like to come up and show your resume?
Okay, you can go ahead if you still had a question. I just needed to see if I was on the right path with my resume as an
Mhm.
artist.
Okay, okay. And also, why don't we take some time in the end if you want to take a look at your resume and take some time, uh, or uh, or Monica?
I actually, as long as you feel like the group got the information you wanted, I feel like I got clear information off of what you just shared.
Okay,
I
okay,
mean, if you want
yes.
me to share my resume, I will, but I don't feel like I feel pretty
Okay, I
good.
just wanted to make sure that y'all were in the stack.
Thank
Let's
you.
move on. And if you guys want to stay for another couple minutes afterwards, we can do it and we can go over your resume. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Moving on to the next part because um, this is very important. Uh, and this is also another thing that you're going to keep for the future, right, Therese?
Yes. All right, so we're going to talk about your work samples. Is there anybody here who's never put together work samples in your art form? Okay, so everybody's familiar with the idea. Okay, so the biggest thing here is avoid uploading samples that have poor quality, poor visibility, and audio quality. And really, what you want to do is create a story, a very short story. And if you think of it as your elevator pitch for your project, um, and then think that you've got a minute for, if you show 5 samples, that you've got a minute for those 5 samples. They're very, very specific and really clear about, they're only going to spend 5 minutes on your samples. And the formats that they want are audio, video, and written documents. I can't overemphasize to keep track of your file size as you're going. So if you're doing all JPEGs and it's 125 megabytes that they're allowing, and you have 750, you might want to consider making a collage and doing it as a PDF to save some space. Um, so Arturo, I sent you 3 samples, and I believe you also have Shawna's. If you want to bring up Shawna's sample first, that'd be great. Or whichever is easiest, and I can just riff off of it. So Shawna was from Cohort 2, or I'm sorry, Cohort 3. And she also had such a great time, she hung out for Cohort 4. Um, she's an artist who has a very, very strong background in lots of different art forms. And so just watching her um, zone in and just like get really, really clear in like how she presented her work was really impressive. If you go up to the top, Arturo, that would be great. Um, if you are a visual artist or a storytelling artist, I think this is a really good format. Um, you have your grant that you're applying for, and then the work sample number and your name, and then the details about it, and then like a summary, and then a little bit about the production. And it could be like all of these in one. You would have all of these in one document. And she has her name at the top and the bottom, so that as people are scrolling through, they basically can remember whose whose images they're looking at. I had my name on every page, so it's like sample number 1, sample number 2, sample number 3. Um, can you show us one that's multimedia?
Yes. Actually, let's see. Oh, I think this is the better one. Yes.
Okay, and so if you're doing things that have like um, audio or their video, couple things you want to be really really clear on. Don't send them to Spotify. Um, you could send them to YouTube, but like if you do send them to YouTube, use the share where you drop it in, and it lands you right at the specific point. So like if you share it from 304, which is the starting point that Shawna has indicated, when the person clicks on it, it's going to bring them right to 304. And the thing I would say is, I don't know how long this video is, but she doesn't say listen from 304 to 404. So she's kind of leaving it up to the person to listen to how much they have. If they watch the video for 4 minutes, there's 4 minutes of her presentation. There's 4 minutes of her time taken um, from the 5 minutes that they're going to be spending. And you can see here that she's got a summary of the video and then gives a sense of what the production is. You don't have to uh, worry about so much about word numbers, but you want to be straightforward. What it is that they're looking at, and what's the story, and then the production. How was it done? And like what are the interesting things about it?
I I have a quick question for the group. Why do you think it's useful to include the production process or a narrative of the production process in your work sample?
What was the question? I missed it.
Yeah. The question is, why do you think it's important to include a production narrative in your work sample?
I guess just so people can see, read about what they're going to see or make a decision about if they want to check it out. and so that you can have the opportunity to explain what they're going to, what you're sharing.
Take a minute to read this. Take a minute to read this. Do you think this artist is clear on how they're doing this work?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's precisely why, right? Like you want them to know that it wasn't you just stumble upon it and it looked cool and that was it, right? Now you actually have your craft down. You know how to explain it because you listen, right? Moving on. Which other one, Therese?
I sent you Juan Manuel's. If you could bring up um Gabriel's first. So the first for Gabriel's is the collage of the work samples, and then the second one is kind of like the story behind the work samples.
Okay.
Probably in your inbox.
Yeah, no, I
Shared folder. Okay. Thank you for being my co-pilot.
absolutely. Very good. This one is the one that you want first, right?
Yes. So this is one of my absolute favorite um, mentees of all times. They were working on getting funding for uh, foster youth to get like hip hop training, and they already had a background, and a lot of what they had were like when they first started some of their earliest work, and so we went through their work and just found some popping. Can you stay at the top for a second, Arturo? Just like he's got a very like popping personality, so it's like we wanted the font to not just be like your basic resume, but to like have some color, have a little bit of style to it, so it wasn't just every third submission. We really wanted it to stand out that this was Gabriel's works. These were Gabriel's work samples. So as you scroll down, um, you got the kiddos, and there's just pictures of that residency. And then if you keep scrolling, um, it's a open mic that he did. And like if you have things that you don't have a flyer for, you can also recreate flyers for them. And if you need any support, Arturo and I can help you. So like if you were involved in a spoken word show and you don't have any flyers or work samples from that, we can help you recreate one. Keep scrolling. Um, Here's another example, and he goes into this partnership that he had with UCLA Visual and Performing Arts Education. And then keep going. And then it's more of him being a teaching artist and mentor and a social media coordinator with some kids in Hollywood. And then some more examples of some of the projects that he did. That's his most current project. One of his most current projects is getting youth compensated to do their to do these interviews and just show some of their artwork, which is their dancing, for a video that he's working on. And this one is a clickable video, so like he's got a link underneath. When they click, they go to this 1 minute and 17-second adoptee-led program.
Gabriel Gutierrez. I grew up in foster care in Chicago, got adopted, then moved to LA. I'm a first-generation artist, college graduate, and founder of Mo Fundamentals. Mo Fundamentals is an adoptee-led arts program focused on transforming the trauma of foster care into a celebration of resiliency. Having lived experience in the child welfare system, I saw programs supporting youth with the lens of trauma. Instead, Mo Fundamentals uses the lens of resiliency to celebrate the growth and success of foster and adopted youth. Through Mo Fundamentals, my mission is to create spaces for youth to grieve, process, heal, and speak about their truth in foster care, filling in the gap of what is needed to transform and abolish this traumatic system.
So that's another way that you can also you know, create a work sample is to just even create something on YouTube where you're just, or YouTube, even here on Zoom, where you make a recording. It's just like, hi, my name is Treese Davis. I've been performing from my bedroom, you know, for the pandemic, and here's 5 of my favorite, you know, shorts. And then I could go into that, or like, just talking about my art. I could walk around and say, here's, you know, my art on wood. You know, you can get creative with your work sample, just knowing that you have 5 minutes total. Monica, I think it would be great if you went by Radio Havana, you know, or like, you know, even like talk to some of your fans or something, you know. I'm not sure what your project is, but I think you can definitely get creative, because you think these reviewers are going to be viewing up to 50 grants, and if you can figure out some way to stand out a little bit, it's beneficial. Any questions about work samples before I have Arturo bring up the last one? This is another one of my mentees, who is an amazing illustrator who also has a engineering background. And unfortunately, I don't have all of his samples, but he did such a great job in like telling stories and like showing like kind of like some of the early stages of the mural and then the finished product, and just really did a great job in storytelling about what was up. So for this one, he drew inspiration from political propaganda from the 1940s and the political climate at the time the mural was created in 2017. We wanted to make a political statement. The mural portrays Juanita More Juanita Moore in an elegant pose that conveys strength, almost military, depicting her as a leader and protector of the LGBTQ community. It is also a tribute to the creator of the rainbow flag, Gilbert Baker, rest in peace, 2017, and to all who fought for LGBTQI rights throughout history. And then, like, the thing that I loved about where he was up to is he wanted everyone to know where the murals were located, and then even a little bit more about the mural after he told the story. He's like, the mural is located in San Francisco's historical Castro district and was met with overwhelming positive feedback, allowing me to connect with and aid my immediate LGBTQI community. It has since become a symbol of identity for the Castro and the LGBTQI communities and a public celebration of free love. So he chose to do a little personalized branding, and well, he has a slick website, and was just like, I don't know what to do with my websites. I'm just like, make them as slick as your website. You have a gorgeous website. You know, use that kind of vibe. So he grabbed just a framework of his website and used his logo, and then just put some lines on the bottom, and it has the grant that he's applying for, the work sample number, the name of the piece, and the location of the mural. So he had like seven or eight samples, and I think his last one was kind of like the heart clencher. It was one of a little neighborhood kid who kept coming back every week to watch the progress of the mural, and you know, he just gave a personal story of how he wished when he was a kid, you know, that he would see somebody painting murals, so that, you know, he would have had he could have had a more supportive gender identity experience being a kid, and it's just like, oh my god, the heart clencher. It was just like very, very inspirational. So, put some of your soul in there. You don't want to necessarily come across as like nobody knows the struggles I've seen, and woe, me, and like I'm so in need. Like nevertheless, I'm empowered. Like this is my deficit and this is my strength, and lean more into your strengths. There are the numbers, and then there's the resilience. So and like why it's important.
Mm.
Lastly, just really trying to keep them in the pocket of that they're going to support that you can do what you said you're going to do. If you are a vocalist and you don't have any current vocal things, you can make some new vocal things. You can have your if you don't like what you've got live, you can have your slideshow and record. Have something recorded in the background that they hit play on at the beginning, and then they watch a sequence of slides. Or if you just want to keep more of your time for showing stuff visually and telling more of your story. Arturo and I both can help you get creative in how you tell your story, and hopefully, you can have a moment with your buddy to share your samples and your resumes, just to get just to ask questions like, if I was reading this, what questions would I have, or is it clear? Any questions? Uh, what does that mean, Valerie? Okay, all right.
I think it's important to say that working on your work samples is going to take time, and of course, I want to vocalize this. I'm very aware that this is a lot of work, right? Your work samples, your resume, your narrative, your research, all of these things, right? um, I would love to know if and we will go with that in a second, but I'd love to know if there is a way for us to support you in getting through all of these things with more ease. um, but the one thing that was coming up for me when Therese was talking is, maybe you don't have the best recordings of yourself, but maybe you know someone that does, right? Maybe in your former organization they have a recording of a show that you produced or something like this. We're giving you the time to reach out to the people who might have this information, who might have these videos, who might have these photos, who might have all of these things, and reach out to them and be like, hey, can I have this video, please? I am putting together a grant application and would love to have this as part of my work samples, right?
I'm You have a question, Monica?
Yeah, I think one of the main things is just like overwhelm of part of it is that it's virtual. I think if we were in person, it'd be a little easier to like have all this be hi, um, a little more concrete. But is there some? Do you happen to have, or maybe you've sent it and I didn't see it, but some sort of document that is like the framework of this entire course that we're doing and the order of like the things that we're meant to work on and like just something comprehensive?
What you have so far, what you can do to build on is you can just go back to the post game notes, and the thing that I would suggest for you is to support what you're getting at. Is to it's a lot less than what you think you need. It's slide number 3, the program goals,
Mm-hmm.
and I would encourage you to focus in on those 3 things.
Okay.
It's to support you in getting clarity of your artistic practice and the specific project you'll be working on, to develop your grant writing skills, providing a deep understanding of the funding development ecosystem, and to file a complete application for investing in artist grants program. And then if there was going to be a companion to that, it would be the template that you have for the grant. And all the other stuff is just extra. So like you have, I think, almost a month before the grant is due, or a little under a month.
Yeah, the 16th.
Exactly a month. It's on the 18th, August 18th.
Okay, so congratulations, we're about a month away. Um, so just like look at it in like little pieces. You know, just like grab one section and focus on that. Focus on it by section, and like try to look at the small pieces versus all of the things. Because like when I first did this for the San Francisco Arts Commission, and we had a month-long workshop, and I tried to go back and look at the slides. I think I had to recover. I had a week that I had to like just take a nap, and then a pirate came to town and reminding me that I was at time.
Arr.
Arr! But if there's specific sessions or specific pieces that you want more clarity around the process, we could definitely break it down for you, Monica.
Yeah, I would say also refer to the template. You have a template with specific boxes for every question they're asking. It includes the part where you have to put your resume. It includes the part where you have to include your work samples. So whenever you have an issue, just go back to that. Therese, we did not do a vault for this cohort, right?
Oh, a vault?
Uh-huh.
We have the beginning of a vault, but we haven't really used it.
Okay. So then let me pose this question, because we still have a few minutes of the session, and I just really, I am seeing, and this is important for me to say, it's not right or wrong here. Yeah,
I have a counter proposal.
yeah.
Are you talking about the vault?
I'm not, and I don't think we should launch the vault right now. I would love to check in with our students to see what would be of support for them to get clarity on what they're missing, and most of all, how can we make sure that you schedule the time to work on these things, right? Because here's the thing: we are telling you what you can do, but the only way to get these things done is by doing them, right? So is there a way for us to give you support on allocating time, scheduling time? Maybe we can do some co-working hours where we join, we say hi, we are all working on our own application or on our own resume, and then if we have questions we can come into the main space and be like, oh, I have this, because what I'm interested in is that we can show up to our sessions with our homework done, with the progress that we're looking for ready, so that we can actually work on these things and we can move forward to the next thing. I have a sense that right now you have some accumulation of things without like backed up things, and maybe of course it brings a sense of not ease, right, but the opposite of ease. So how can we support you guys in making this easier for you? Co-working, you like this idea? Share a little bit. What has been your experience trying to allocate time to do this work?
And if you need any
So I
support
get
around,
it. I get it in where I fit it in right now, and I try to make sure I have the homework done at least for class, and that enables me to get some progress done towards the goal. Um, so I don't have a schedule like, oh, Monday I'm going to do it, sit down, do it, but I make sure that at least by Thursday I've tapped in with myself and had some kind of progress towards, even if it's just a little bit, a few sentences, a couple notes. Um, so it's not so overwhelming. That's how I'm going to get a calendar today, a wall calendar, because I want to start getting more consistent and creating a better schedule and time management for myself.
For myself. Arr. so guys, before we move forward, I want to bring a sense of ease into the space. So take a moment, breathe. It's okay if we haven't find the time to do this work. It's we have 1 month. We still have one full month with all of its hours, with all of its time. And the again, the sense that we want to bring into grant writing is not a sense of like, oh, you're behind, you should be doing this, you should be no, none of that. All is well, all is well. If it would be of support for you guys to co-work, I'm down. Therese just wrote that she's down to find some time and co-work. Totally good. I myself have been pushed in many different directions in the last couple of weeks, so same, it's the same. It's just we just need to be patient with ourselves, be compassionate, right? We're gonna get through this. So what I would love to propose is on a crazy kayak family trip and no time to work on
Oh,
deeply.
yeah, I got all that.
Cool. So tell us, would it help you to find some time to co-work, maybe on a Wednesday afternoon, Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon? Does that work for anyone here? Okay, cool. Okay. I mean, we can also just take some of our time, our coaching time, to really dive into it. Enjoying whenever I can.
So I'm open to having co-working if at least one person like commits. It's for full transparency. It becomes frustrating when six people say they want to co-work, and Arturo and I set aside the time, and no one shows up. So I feel confident in supporting one person, but I'm not confident in showing up and just hanging out with Arturo because
What?
we can do that all the time.
I mean, yeah, but it's still cool.
All is well, but you we just need at least one person to commit to whatever the time is that we set up, and then anyone else that wants to come groovy. But we need uh, someone to commit. So let's start with this Wednesday as what might be possible. Was that the time it was looking like a possibility or date?
Yeah, who is available to do Wednesday after 6, let's say
Are you saying 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
Okay, you don't have anything in the day.
I'm trying to give time for their work to be done, you know,
Okay, so six to
6 to 8.
6 to 8. Let's see if is anybody 100% available other than Arturo and I.
That's it?
I
Yes? All
yes, I
right. Mrash, Iwolani, beautiful.
Um,
Did you raise your hand, Monica? Or not? Okay, okay.
so Wednesday, Mirage is a definite. That's the A. And Iwalani.
Iwolani, yes.
And Judith, if you can pass through, you will. You're on mute.
Sorry, I was speaking to someone else and I can't
Okay,
do
never
this
mind.
Wednesday.
Okay, Michael says possibly okay.
Okay,
Okay, I just saw your text, Judith, that you can't do Wednesday.
beautiful. So let's start with this Wednesday. With those who don't have that time to allocate, totally fine. Let's try to put in the check-in times with your in our coaching sessions. And again, guys, this what I want to really convey here is don't give in to the monkey. Don't give in to the monkey. There is not a problem. We're figuring this out. We're making it happen. And it's my joy to be able to hold that space so that we can all, finish our applications, and we will get them done. Okay. So yeah, it's just a matter of having clarity. Now, I think that what we're going to be doing for next session, not this session, we're going to bring back a tool that was actually very successful in the past. We call it the Vault. And this is a list of everything that we need to have ready for the grant and what is the progress of everyone in the group, so that you can just go very succinctly, just go there and be like, oh, this is my next step. Okay, just go into that next step. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Maresh. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, guys. I think that we should start wrapping up our session today. So your two homework items for today. Your two homework items for today are finish your resume and collect your work samples. How do we go about starting to collect our work samples? Make a list of the things that you would like to present. Okay, make a list of the things that you would like to present. Look at what you have a good work sample of. You have a recording, you have a video, you have press. Press always works. And um, see if you have it available, or if you need to reach out to somebody to start working on them. So to be clear, we're not asking you to work on your work samples this week. We're asking you to collect your work samples, okay? In our next session, we're gonna start formatting and doing all of these things. But for right now, we are asking you to collect your work samples, okay? Finish your resume. And we're going to be working on your narratives individually during our coaching time. And again, this is a lot of things, but we got it. We're doing it together. You have a support team to help you doing this. Okay. I want to start our closing section by saying that I am grateful for all of you showing up like every Saturday. I am grateful to see that you're willing, nevertheless you're willing, and that life continues to be life, continues to be unpredictable and changing, but we are here to show up for the work, and I really honor the work that you're doing, and I'm very, very happy and feel very privileged to be able to support you in this journey. So thank you. And with that, I would love to ask you, what are you grateful for today's session?
I'm grateful for additional clarity, the chance to kind of bounce ideas off, my the other people in the group, my accountability buddies and things of that sort. It's helpful just to get somebody else's feedback and somebody else's perspective is really helpful. And so, yep, that is something I'm grateful for. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie says clarity around the artist's resume. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Valerie.
The collective knowledge that everyone dropped today and all of your participation.
Very participative day. True.
I found it very useful to see different samples that you shared with us. So thank you for that. And the same for the clarity on the resume and to have a bit more structure around all of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuri.
There are quite a few things, but to be really specific, I'll in Mirage's, in your presentation. There's so much resonance with how I want to be showing up in the world, or do, but want to do it more intentionally. And so, two quotes that I wrote down, not completely paraphrased, but from your presentation that I'm grateful for, that inspire me on what I'm doing, is you said something like, there are a lot of people who don't know the power their culture holds. And just sitting with that and where that goes, I can feel is going to bring a lot of direction for me. And then also, they always used music and they always healed. That was like really big medicine for me and also gave me a lot of clarity. So grateful for that. So thank you.
Gracias, Monica. Thank you.
Monica, will you drop those in the chat so I can put them in the post notes? Thank you.
Iwalani shares, I'm grateful for our coaches, our group, and everyone's creative energy and experience. And Michael shares, grateful for the coaches making additional time to help us. Again, it's a joy, guys.
I'm grateful for the support and also being received. So my idea was a little jumbled, so to see everyone resonating with it or actually open to the idea, I'm actually grateful. And I'm actually grateful to be here every Saturday at 10 a.m. with you guys. So this is actually a sacred space. I think you guys create sacred spaces. So that's what I feel this is. So yes.
Thank you. Gracias. Woo! Whew. And with that, we're going to let you go. We're going to wish you the best for this upcoming week. We will see you during our coaching sessions, and we're sending you all the love and all the power. And hasta la pasta. Gracias.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Nagyon köszönöm én is. Viszontlátásra!